Okay, here we go. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this incredible Thursday evening. It is a kind of gloomy evening with a little bit of sun in Dallas, Texas. Just so you guys understand the format for the call, I'm not listening or not paying attention, but this is what happened last time. People are coming in late, so I'm letting them in. Okay, so here we go. So thank you guys so much for joining me. My name is Victoria Dela Cruz. I am a managing director and founding member with Scout Cellar. I have been with Scout Cellar since its inception in August of 2017. And I am also, in my secondary life, a full-time real estate agent. This is my full disclosure, legal, without a law degree disclosure, if that makes sense. What we're going to talk about tonight, I got a lot of feedback from people on some things they would like to see, so I'm going to work on those. But when I'm talking about what I do as an agent, you need to make sure that whatever state you are in, that you comply with all rules in that state. I am in Texas. I do not know other states' laws or rules with real estate and with gifting. So please, please, please make sure that if you are the real estate agent, that you understand those guidelines. And if you're talking to a real estate agent to recruit them, and you use this, just understand that I am in Texas. And so I don't know the laws everywhere. So if we can all agree on that, that will be awesome. Okie doke, so here we go. So I have been in some facet of real estate for over 21 years. When I saw the opportunity with Scout Cellar, it was actually a perfect fit for me to roll in kind of all the things that I love. So I've been on the lending side, I've been on the title side, and I've been on the real estate side. And if you're in this industry or understand this industry, you know that they all kind of coincide. Now, in some states like New York, they use attorneys to close. I think that that's still what they do there, and several other states. If somebody on here, I think I did see somebody said they are a real estate agent in New York. Can you just pop in the messages and say, yes, we're still closing with attorneys? So when Scout Cellar was presented to me, I'd already been in the business. I was on the mortgage side, I was on the title side, and then I jumped over to the real estate side. When I was in title and lending, I did a lot of stuff with my partners, all within the guidelines of what was set up. In California, back before there was P59 and all those things. So you have to follow and abide by the guidelines, but there's definitely a way to talk to these people to not only recruit them, but if you're in a position as a real estate agent, to get them to partner or to utilize your wine business and work it into that. So let me first start with reaching out to realtors, because that seems to be the biggest thing that people want to know. Right now, the market in Texas is extremely crazy. It is 24/7, 7 days a week, crazy. I'm not sure where it is everywhere else, but I'm pretty sure across the US, it's crazy. When you're talking to a real estate agent to recruit them, keep that in mind right now. If they're blowing you off or they're not getting back to you, for the moment in time right now, that's this craziness, they might be like, you know what, I don't have time. And that's okay. That is okay. One way you can spin that, if you're wanting them to either join you and work the business or just purchase from you to get them started as a customer, is to ask them, what do you do for closing gifts? I personally gift when I close, you get Scout Cellar. If you do a transaction with Victoria Dela Cruz, you are getting a bottle of Resident in your closing basket. That's just the way it is. You're getting that. That's how I work my business that way. But when you're talking to a real estate agent and, deciding, okay, I'm either trying to get them as a customer or I want them to join and be part of my team because of the synergies. I just don't want people to feel discouraged right now because it is an extremely busy market. And I could see a lot of people saying, I'm too busy. If you are a real estate agent on this call, why don't you put something in the chat and kind of give some feedback on what you think about what I've just said. So that's how I would handle that piece. Things that you just want to say to them are you can utilize it in your business. Are you gifting when you have buyers or sellers? Do you do client appreciations? Most agents or groups will do client appreciations. So those are all when you're having the conversation with your potential real estate agent. Those are all things you can kind of just talk about leading into the business. Right now, in the current temperature of the market, the approach you might take right now is getting them as a customer. It is synergetic with what we do. However, you need to respect that space that they're in, and getting them as a customer is as good as getting them as a consultant, in my opinion. Here's why. Real estate in a normal trend, and please don't laugh, but in a normal trend, which we are not in at all, normally has a 7 high and a 7 low. Okay, so over history, as long as I've been in the business, it's always been nice to have a plan B, and I call it a plan B. And it's okay to talk to title people, mortgage people, and real estate agents about a plan B, because this isn't how it's always going to be. Does that make sense? So I'm seeing all the comments about it is busy. I'm not sure of what's going on. So if you guys have questions on that, put it in there so I know. So I would approach it, first of all, as what are you giving for your closing baskets? And if they're like, oh, I don't do a closing basket, you need to immediately let them know that as a consumer, if I bought a home and I didn't at least get a card or something, I'd be like, what's happening right now? This is so strange. Now, there are gifting laws and rules on how much you can give in the state of Texas. It's $25 per person. So if you have a husband and a wife, it's $50. So the resident works right into that balance because of its price point. So that is how I would have those conversations right now with the current environment. Now, and I'm looking at my notes, you guys, I'm not ignoring you, but I want to make sure I touch on all these things people asked. So that's in recruiting. Be conscientious that it's a busy market. Talk about the partnership of how you can partner. If they don't want to join your team now, talk about the partnership of how you're an advocate, you're out there, you're talking to people. And what's the number one thing that real estate agents want? Referrals. Just like in wine, we love referrals. Like referrals can be the hugest source of your business. So partnering with the person and making it easier for them will help you in the long run with either getting them as a phenomenal customer or possibly great consultant. Now I'm seeing Tina Marie said, I'm in Pennsylvania. I can't even get started because I'm so busy. That's going to be probably the message you're hearing. But what I would say to that is I would incorporate that, the business, Tina, into your everyday, what you're doing. In my business, incorporate, I had a closing today. This was different type of closing. So I actually gifted them Bernhardt, and I'll talk about how I do that as well. But I also left for the other agent. And let me show you, I'll show you what I do. And this has actually gotten me consultants that are real estate agents. When I close, I always thank the other agent for transaction, et cetera. I have these little note cards that are real estate driven with my name on it. I tell them how great it was to work with them. And I say, we've both worked so hard. Enjoy a glass of wine on me. And then I put a little note in there. This is what I do in my downtime. Let me know how you like the wine. First of all, there's not anybody I know that doesn't want a bottle of wine or a nice note left for them. And secondly, sometimes it will trigger them. I've had them call me and go, wait a minute, do you do this with your real estate? So it is, it's a light touch that can have, you know, a big return for you. What a great idea to give the other realtor bottle. Yes, it's the realtor, the other bottle is perfect, because eventually with real estate, with the 7 high and 7 low, they need something else. Or honestly, there's so many real estate agents I've talked to that, you know, on average, I don't know in other states, but on average, most real estate agents only close 1 to 3 deals a year. Now, this market's a little different, but think about that. Some of them just do it because they do it part-time, but others, maybe it's just not picking up as quick for them. So this is a nice backup to that. For me personally, when I get to the point where I need a moment with the real estate, I have the wine to fall back on. So I never lose my stride in what I'm doing. And quite honestly, when I'm doing the wine, guess what I'm getting? I'm getting referrals, because without fail, anytime you're doing a wine tasting or talking about wine, somebody's talking about real estate. Or, hey, did you refi? It always comes up. Hey, I'm redoing my house. So it's a great lead way into, oh, you're a real estate agent? Yes, I do this for fun. I love my real estate and it works hand in hand. So I've also, you can use that when you're talking to an agent and say, have you ever thought about when you're doing this? It's another way to network and get clients. When they move somebody into a neighborhood, I just did this in my neighborhood. New person moved in. I said, I would love to introduce you to some of the neighbors. Why don't I host a wine tasting for a couple of the neighbors and do a meet your neighbors? Great. We did it outside, out front, so people could just come meet the neighbor. Was phenomenal. I got orders out of that. In addition to, people were like, oh my gosh, you're the real estate agent? My real estate agent never did that for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so sad, but here's my card. So there's a lot of different ways to tie that all in. Are there any other questions about that? About talking to an agent, things to say to an agent? Anything other than that? And you can put your questions in the chat and I will try to answer them. Now, this came up on the last call, which was really interesting. I'm afraid people won't take me seriously in real estate if they know I'm doing another business. I completely disagree, 100%. It is now the norm to have multiple streams of income. This is something that fits directly into what you are doing. It is social, it gathers people, it is celebratory, and it is fun. So when people say to me, aren't you afraid people will think like you're not serious about real estate? That never even crosses my mind, because why would it? There's no, me selling wine does not dictate how I am as a real estate agent. It's just something else that I do. So if that comes up, I always tell people, I always have a plan B in my life. I've been a single mom. I needed a plan B. So that's my plan B. I can do some real estate when I want. I do my wine when I want. I meet a ton of fun people. I get to celebrate my clients. I get to welcome them into new neighborhoods, and I get to meet a ton of people. Have you done a wine tasting at your office? So I work for eXp Realty and we are a virtual group. However, I have not done one at my office, but when I was on the title side of things, I would always do events at real estate offices. And this is another helpful hint. So what I would do when I was in title is I would call my top realtors and say, hey, I would love to come into your office and you know, with the holidays coming up or with gift ideas, just come in, do a tasting and talk about, you know, what I have, etc. Works like a charm, because when you're in there, first of all, you get orders. Second of all, time. If you're looking at the chat, everybody who's an agent on this thing is saying time, time, time. Well, how amazing would it be if someone said to you, why don't you just call me at the beginning of the month, tell me how many closings you have, I'll put the baskets together and I'll drop them off for you at your office. Guess what you've just done? You've become a value add and you've saved them time. So that's when it's a great customer. On the reverse side of it, I make my own baskets. I don't know if you guys can see, like my couch, I have closings this month. And so I've got all my stuff back there to make my baskets and to do my stuff. So yes, doing a tasting at a real estate office is great. When I was in title, I used to always host them, because in title, my goal was to get as many agents working with me for the title work that I could. So I would sponsor those. So that's another way that you could have your title person or your lender sponsor a tasting in the office that you could talk about, or bring in your mentor. Jackie Carl's on here, so I'll use Jackie as an example. Let's say I'm on Jackie Carl's team and I'm a real estate agent. And maybe you're like, oh, I feel kind of weird talking about it to, you know, my office. Fine. Hey, Jackie, you're my mentor, you're my upline. Would you do the tasting for my office? I'm going to sit in the crowd so you can talk about like all the advantages, throw a little thing in there about how Victoria does this on the side, but we, you know, this is what you can do. Have the title people help sponsor it within the guidelines. And then you get the sales. Real estate agents are entrepreneurs, so they get it. They get the hustle. They understand. So don't let it be intimidating. I think what right now is intimidating is the fact that we're so busy. And you know, the other thing you need to be real careful about in real estate, and this has bitten me before, is talking about how busy you are. Because if people think you're busy, guess what's going to happen? They're going to call another real estate agent to list their home or to buy a home with. Be real careful. That's just a little helpful hint on the side, saying that you're busy. If she can send it directly to the clients, is there anything that can be done differently to get a bottle direct to the client without a 15? Sounds like you order a case and have it for your baskets. Shipping is shipping. I can tell you, Jennifer, oh, that's a direct message. I'm just answering it out loud, because if somebody has a question, they're all going to have it. When I close, I go to all my closings. If I can't be there, I drop the basket off early at title, so it's already there for my client. But the shipping is the shipping. How do you charge for the baskets? So how do you charge for the basket? I don't charge for the baskets. It's a gift. It's a gift. Daniel, I'm not sure what you're asking me on that, but it's a gift. When I close somebody and they buy a $200,000 home or $1 million home, that is my gift to say thank you to them.
I suspect she means like if you make the baskets for other realtors.
Oh, they would purchase. So let's say it's in your office. They would purchase the wine. I have not done that piece being as a real estate agent now. I did it when I was in title. So you would have them purchase the wine. Normally it's, depending on where you are and the laws, red or red and a white. And then they purchase that, because that's on them. They can get it to you. I would, if somebody joined and asked me to do that. The people that I have that are real estate agents, they're just like, what should I order? Tell me which ones. I show them a basket that I've done and they just mimic it. So I don't charge for the baskets. I just have them get it all and do it. If it's a big enough client, like I do have a title company that orders for me, and on the reverse side, I buy all the baskets. I do it. That's my own personal thing. There's a question from Tara about, have you ever talked about Scout Cellar at an open house? Okay, there's different laws. Based on that, you need to talk to your upline. We cannot serve at an open house. It is a public place, and you cannot do that. If it is a private broker open, please direct that question to your upline, because it's a little bit different when it's private. But if it's an open invitation, we cannot serve. Do I talk about it at open houses? No, I do not talk about it at open houses. For me, that's the wrong place. Do I put my Scout Cellar gift card in your closing gifts? I do. Most of my clients are by referral, so they know me. They know that I do this, especially right now with the market being so crazy, when my people are not getting offers accepted, or even when they're listing their home. I just took a bottle of wine tonight to a client who I'm listing their house, and they're completely stressed out just because of any time you sell or buy, there's a lot going on. So they know that I do it. But I will put it in my closing gift in the in my little card that I write. What do I put in my baskets? It all depends on where you are and what state. Diane, I don't know where you're located. There's rules and guidelines for that, so you have to be really careful. For me personally, there's cookies that go in there. I do a resident. I do a couple of different things, and also depending on my price point. Just mention it. Tara, that would be something where you would have to have a comfort level. I imagine the way I would promote that is if maybe I had a large listing that had a bar area, I might put some Scout Cellar bottles there, and you could have somebody there who talked about it. I just don't know for me if that's the right arena to do that in. But I could definitely think about that a little bit for you. Are there any other questions about how to talk to agents or lenders? I mean, lenders are the same thing. Lenders normally participate in closings. If they're closing a loan for somebody, the really good ones normally give a closing gift, or they'll show up to closing and they'll show up with a bottle of wine. I mean, if you're going to show up with a bottle of Veuve, why don't you show up with a bottle of Bernhardt? And the partners that I work with personally in lending, they're rock stars. They get it. They will buy a couple of cases from me and use them for their closings. So that's kind of another way to work that. Let me talk a little bit about how I, as a real estate agent, use Scout Cellar for my clients and client appreciation once I've closed them. So I set up an A, B, and C list, and I work off of that. A are your top clients or price point, depending on how you do it. B and C. So I have set mine up into price points because that's what works for me. For my A clients, this is an out-of-pocket expense as a real estate agent that I invest in. You have a couple of ways. And so you know how real estate agents, they all do it different. Some send postcards after they've sold a house. Some, do a neighborhood gathering. Everybody does it differently, but there's all ROI on that when you close a house. So what I do is, for my A clients, I sign them up and let them know that they will be getting a 4-bottle wine club quarterly from me as a thank you for allowing me to serve their family. Twofold. I can pay the money for a postcard, and these are kind of things you can talk about when you're talking to the real estate agent and letting them know, like why would I do that and how does it make sense? So for me, I can go spend $1,500 on a postcard to do farming, or I can let other people be my champion. And somebody's getting a wine club 4 times a year. So it's $90 4 times a year. What do you think they're saying to every single person that comes to their house? Oh my God, my real estate agent sent me a wine club. Is that crazy? And immediately they're like, what? Mine didn't do that, or whatever their case is. So for my A clients, that's what I do 4 times a year. In addition to that, at the holiday, I split them each year. 1 year I'll do Thanksgiving. The next year I will do, depending on what they celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is, I will switch it up so they're not getting the same thing from me. But then I will do that for my A clients. For my B clients, I do a gift set. I pick a gift set. Again, I do it based on price. You do it however you want. I do it based on price. And in most cases for my B clients, it's 3 times a year. Now, when I do that gift set, I send something with it. So I try to time it with congratulations on the 1 year in your home. Happy birthday. Summer, for most all of my clients, I do the 4-pack of cans. I break the cans into a basket so they can see it, you know, not just the 4-pack. I put it in a little basket and I'll put a towel in there, a sunscreen, and I'll say happy summer, stuff like that, leaving it all in a little basket. I do that for most all of my clients for summer, when summer's coming. So I do the gift set for my B, and then for my C clients, I do the main holidays. So like at Thanksgiving, I will do a, you know, pop in, grab your holiday wine as a thank you from me, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll just buy several cases of wine. They pop by. It's my gift to them for being a client. So it's really kind of no different than you going and sourcing how you can get corporate holiday gifting. It's really kind of the same thing. Now, some of my lenders will partner with me and they will say, you buy the white, we'll buy a red. Or I have an awesome lender on our joint partners. She will do bubbles, which is amazing. So we do that for our clients right before New Year's. We get together. She purchases the bubbles from me. They come by, they pick up the bubbles, which she has purchased. And then I don't know if you guys have a little party store, I forget the name of it. I go and get the little like blowers and the hats, and I create a little New Year's party pack. And that's kind of how I work it as a real estate agent with my business, with wine, as a thank you to my clients, which then in return really doubles for me as people sending me referrals and things like that. Katie said wine club for solds for 1 year, only quarterly. I do that, Katie. Yes, for the first year, I do it quarterly. It is the $89. It is for my A clients. And that is $650 and above for me. We're in Dallas, so that's where I've set my marker. And then I also do little things in between, like when it's your birthday, when it's a year in your house, whatever that is. You really can break it up however you want. A lot of times, real estate agents are busy and they mean to do it. They want to get to it, but they don't get to it. So that's another way for you to kind of take it off their plate. I have another good friend that's a real estate agent. She buys the wine for me. What she does is she makes her baskets. Like she orders 12 bottles and she makes 12 baskets. And then when she's done with those, she orders 12 more. So there's a lot of ways to make it work with your business when you're a real estate agent, and also work it in and you don't feel like a little bit overwhelmed. What is some verbiage to steer an agent to use Scout Cellar instead of another closing gift? Holly, are you the agent, or? I always just say, I would say to that, I mean, it just makes sense. If you're buying wine, why not get paid on your wine?
Yeah. So sorry, I'm not the agent, but I have several friends who are agents. And for some reason, I feel like one of them is their fiance is, a liquor, distributor or something. So they're like, well, we just do that, and another person is, well, I give this high-end bottle of Veuve, so I don't know. That's why I was just curious, because I feel like
don't be discouraged. That's a label thing. That's completely a label thing. So then what I would do, Holly, is I would flip it and I would say, that's amazing. What are you doing on their 1 year anniversary? I would love for you to support my business. Could you do this? Give them another option, or give them an idea. Like, hey, Susie, I'm making this up. Hey, Susie, I know you're doing that and that sounds great. Do you do anything for like summer, like for your people, just to touch base with them? What about if we did cans and a little beach towel? I can put those together for you and drop them at your office, and you can give them to your top 10 clients. I mean, one referral would cover all of that. So I think sometimes when you get somebody who says, my husband's a liquor distributor, I get it. Like, I don't know what they get. That might be different. But I think there's ways that you can kind of turn it around and say, what about this? It's the value add thing. Without offending anybody on this call who's an agent, I will tell you in my previous experience, a lot of agents don't do anything at the closing table. They don't. I would not be comfortable with that for me, myself. But a lot of them don't. And I think a lot of the reason a lot of them don't is because they don't have the time. So I think if you can be a value add, that would really help you. I'm glad to give you guys some ideas on things I've done that you can use to like say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? But just know that if you do that, you may need to kind of put it together. Like, hey, Holly, if you get all the stuff besides the spritzers, we'll order the spritzers. I'm glad to put those together for you. Like, why don't I come to your office one day and we can enjoy a spritzer and we'll put these together. I would try to go into that office, Holly, so then everybody else is seeing and then they're like, what's going on? It's FOMO. I mean, it'll turn over. So I would try that if that helps.
Yeah, I love that idea. All of the ideas. Great.
Yeah. Okay. I love that I gift wine all the time, but the quarterly gift is fantastic. Yeah. The quarterly gift is a game changer for a real estate agent. It's a game changer. It's like a farm. But the difference is when you do the quarterly gift, you're investing in your business, you're getting back through Scout Cellar, and without fail, you're creating champions who are talking about you to drive your real estate business. Okay, somebody is asking, that is my son, sorry. Would you give a brief summary of Scout Cellar as a company for a realtor on this call who's not heard it before, please? Sure, absolutely. I'll do a brief on that and then I can help you, Michelle, later, or your upline would probably be the best. But Scout Cellar was established in August of 2017. We originally started with 7 wines, actually 8, and there's a whole story behind that, which I will have you direct to your upline. We are based out of Dallas, Texas. We have clean crafted wines, which are organic and biodynamic and follow our clean crafted lab testing. We're a woman-owned company. In our first year, we did $20 million. We're on year 4.5. We did 86 million. Jackie Carl, if you're on this call, help me. 86 million. Basically, we are changing the way people drink wine, one glass at a time. So when you look at wine and mass-produced wines and all of what Sarah calls yucky in it, when you purchase Scout Cellar, you're getting the grape. You're getting the true essence of what wine should be. And we source all of our wines. They have to go through dual lab testing before they then come and we distribute direct to door. Hopefully that will help you. Is that brief enough, Michelle?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I would, if you have any other questions, we can go offline. Ashley, in Texas, legally outside the lenders, are title agents good co-sponsors or do they have? Ashley, this is an interesting, let me think of how to answer this for you. I would talk to your title company. Normally they are. The laws have changed a little bit, but they can co-sponsor. And as far as legal restrictions, you would just need to talk to them about that. When I was in title, it used to be 2 tickets, but again, check with your title company. They will know, they will be able to tell you what they can and can't do. Do I find out what type of wine clients like before you send it or gift it? You know what, Danielle, I don't. When I do a closing basket, I will utilize the resident. I will utilize Gallivant. I do like to use the Gallivant, like when it's first time home buyers, because they're super excited. The resident makes sense for me. So Trish Kilby may actually still be on this call, and she has some great things that she utilizes with the resident and Gallivant. So if she can put that in the chat, we can put that on there. Normally everybody likes a good bottle of red, and really, you guys, don't overthink this. You can always ask people. If you are the real estate agent, you should be getting to know your client. And so in my conversations, and as I get to know them, I learn a lot about them. And through that, whatever it is, when they say, oh, we had a great weekend, we went out. I'm sorry, guys, this is my son. So when I say, like, how was your weekend? What did you do? Oh, we went out. Oh, where'd you guys go? Oh, we went and had Tex-Mex. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you guys have margaritas? Yeah, we did, but I don't really like those. I just had my red wine, or I love my bubbles. And then you kind of know. So you got to dig in a little bit deeper, but I've never had anybody be like, hey, I didn't like the bottle of wine you gave me. Do you order from yourself as a consultant or order as the agent through that business? You need to check with your CPA on the best way to do that. I do not want to give instruction on how to do that. I would, Stephanie, check with your CPA. That is really how I do it. Best way to talk to them, things you can think, save them time. I try to have all of our clients do an all about me form. Yeah, that's perfect, Katie. I do that too. So again, don't get discouraged, you guys. It's a really busy time right now, but in the midst of it being a really busy time, there's a lot of agents who do feel frustrated because they can't get an offer accepted, or it's more on the buyer side. You know, the listings are selling, but it is just a really great way to not only thank your clients, to get paid for gifts that you're already giving, and networking, you know, having champions for yourself. And that's been the biggest thing for me that it's done when I do my quarterly, or I send them a celebrate the everything for the birthday or their 1 year anniversary. I get all kinds of messages, or they'll post on Facebook. And there's just nothing better than that. So it can benefit them not only on the wine side, maybe they order more wine, or on the real estate side, they refer a friend. So I think either way, it's a win-win. And honestly, right now with the promotion that we have going for the $59, it would be crazy not to add it to, you know, your arsenal to have for maybe when that time comes, when it starts to slow down a little bit. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Nobody has any questions? Tiff Marie, the promotion for $59 ends at the end of April, but I would always advise you to check with your upline and check the back office. That will give you all your information. Why not gift neighbors before open house? Yes, that's brilliant, Katie. See, now you're on it. Anybody else? Any questions, comments, how we can help? Ashley, you're local. So if you want to message me separately, I'm glad to meet with you. Some of the title companies, I do know kind of how they work. And I'm glad to partner with you on that and tell you what I know so that you can go in and figure out what's going to work best for you. Okay, you guys, I just have to give one last plug. If you're on this call and you have not signed up for AMP, you need to be at AMP. So make sure that you're signing up for AMP. Go out there, get your real estate partners. I will talk to them for you at AMP. I will help however I can, but you want to be at AMP, get people signed up on the $59. And if you have any other questions, everybody on here knows probably how to get a hold of me, or your upline does. So thank you for spending your Thursday night with me. Everybody has an incredible Friday, an incredible weekend, and keep being fantastic.